is Renee D. Waring, and I am the founder of Uniquely and Wonderfully Made Ministries. The title of my talk is Famous People Mental Illness Part 3B, large B, dash R period Waring. My series can be found on LinkedIn under my name, Renee D. Waring. It can be found on Facebook under Waring Communications, LLC, on Twitter under Renee D. Waring. Lastly, on YouTube under small case R, period, small case W, ARRING. Today, I will continue with part 2 of my series on the life of Steve Young, the football player. I will do a brief summation of part 1. Steve Young was born on October the 11th, 1961 in Salt Lake City, Utah. He is the great-great-grandson of Brigham Young, the second prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. Steve attended Brigham Young University, where he graduated with a law degree in 1984. Steve was the quarterback for the Tampa Buccaneers from 1985 to 1986. He was quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers from 1987 to 1999. Steve received 3 MVP awards, and he won 3 Super Bowls in his football career. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2001. He was also inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2005. On September 2001, he became an ESPN football commentator. In the last scene, Steve had an anxiety attack on the second week of the football season of 1993. The 49ers had lost to the Cleveland Browns 23-13. The night of the loss, Steve could not sleep. Panic set in as he had pain due to an injury. Steve felt the heaviness of his anxiety. He just could not shake it off as he had done many times in the past. Steve stumbled around in a fog for 2 days. He was at the end of his rope when he called a friend, Carol Burr, from Utah. She encouraged Steve on countless occasions to get therapy. This time she put her foot down. She told Steve that she was sending a doctor friend to see him in San Francisco. The doctor's name is Dr. Rex Coker-Hines. Steve met the doctor in his hotel room. Steve told Dr. Coker-Hines his life story. He talked about his childhood, his family, his ambitions, and his fears. The doctor had no idea of the things Steve had been through. He asked Steve if he had told his story to anyone else. Steve replied yes. He admitted that he told his story to a psychologist about 2 years ago. However, he had never followed up with treatment. Steve talked all night to the doctor. When the next day came, Steve was determined to play football in spite of Dr. Coker-Hines urging him not to play that day. It was now the 3rd week of the football season of 1993. The San Francisco 49ers were playing against the Atlanta Falcons. Steve promised the doctor that if the 49ers won the game that day, he would talk to the team doctor about his battle and anxiety. Steve had nausea and vomiting, and he was shivering and shaking. Dr. Clint, the team doctor, thought that he had gastritis or the flu, so he gave Steve an IV. Steve did not tell Dr. Kent that he had anxiety, nor that he had not eaten for 40 hours. The game was in the first home game with the 49ers since Joe Montana was traded to Kansas City. Steve started by completing 6 of his 7 passes when a linebacker hit Steve in the head, jamming his neck. Steve kept on playing despite the throbbing of his neck and head. Before halftime, Steve made 2 touchdowns. He received another IV from Dr. Clint before continuing the battle to Atlanta in the second half. On the final play, Steve was hit on the side of his head and he felt a pop in his neck. Steve walked gingerly off the field. The 49ers had won over the Falcons 37-30. Dr. Clint told Steve that he had jammed his neck and had a mild concussion. The doctor administered electrostimulation, gave him an anti-inflammatory pill, and put a soft cervical collar on him. Steve waited until all of his team members had left the locker room so that he could speak to Dr. Clint alone. As Steve spoke to the doctor realized that Steve was experiencing anxiety attacks without Steve having to tell him. Dr. Clint recognized what Steve was going through because he had the same ailment while he was attending medical school. Therefore, Dr. Clint could empathize with Steve. The doctor told Steve that he would arrange for him to see Dr. Stanley Fishman. Dr. Clint stated emphatically that he had to stay in therapy. Thank you for listening to my presentation for today. Today's video can be found on LinkedIn under Renee D. Waring, Facebook under Waring Communications, LLC, on Twitter under Renee D. Waring, and lastly on YouTube under small case R, small case W, ARRING. My next presentation will be on Thursday, December the 13th, or Friday, December the 14th. Please tune in next time and tell someone else about the video so they can view it also. My name is Renee D. Waring, and I am the founder of Uniquely and Wonderfully Made Ministry. Renee D. Waring is my name, and I am the Warrior Waring.